So what's up? This is Mike Damiani, Associate Editor at GameTrailers.com, and I'm here to give you a first take on Resident Evil 6. I recently got to check it out at E3. Capcom had the game on the show floor, and it was basically broken into three campaigns. There's one for Leon, there was one for Chris, and there was one for the new character Jake, aka Wesker Jr. And if you've seen any of this before, you might notice that one of our other editors, Patrick Morales, did a first take about the kind of the Leon campaign. So I'm not going to go too much into depth because it's exactly kind of the same thing that was at Captivate this year. I will say though that I echo the sentiments of others that the Leon campaign felt more like a throwback to the older style of Resident Evil, and by throwback I mean the kind of dark, gothic atmosphere. I mean, it wasn't a gothic setting, but it definitely had that that vibe that you were a chilling sense of horror, I would say. Very slow paced, handled a little bit differently, but very enjoyable. And I'm sure that those who are clamoring for that older style of Resident Evil game in that regard are going to be happy with that. But as for the other campaigns, let's talk about Chris first. Chris Redfield. It starts off with a quick cutscene, or I shouldn't say quick, a lengthy cutscene where Chris is drunk himself into a stupor, basically, some bar in the middle of nowhere, basically, and he's trying to forget something that happened to him in the past. Apparently, he had an incident where some of his team members were killed, and he doesn't want to deal with it, so some of the BSAA basically tracks him down, tells him that they need him, he needs to come back to service, and after a small scuffle, you're magically warped back into your BSAA. By the way, Chris did not look like he was on steroids at first. He actually looked like he had slimmed down a bit. But as soon as you jump into the actual action, he's back into his BSAA outfit, all like roided up. No offense to anyone who is sensitive to that type of thing, but it's just a little bit ridiculous how that transformation happened. And you're just thrown right into action, basically. You're running across rooftops, basically trying to reach a extraction point, I believe, and you're getting attacked by a bunch of zombies. You have like a machine gun, you have a pistol, you have a few grenades to start with, and it's just really fast-paced, and honestly, it felt like almost like playing Operation Raccoon City. The aiming mechanics and everything felt very similar to that, and to be honest, I wasn't that big of a fan of Operation Raccoon City. And the structure of the level is just kind of boring and a little too chaotic for my liking. And I think it was kind of all the worst things about RE5 that people were whining about was kind of exemplified in that level. It was still interesting to play, but I would say it was kind of the worst of the three. And it wasn't completely terrible, but I really hope that that was the one-time example, and they developed Chris's missions into something a little bit more entertaining, engaging, and has a little bit more depth other than this running gun. The one thing I'll also say is that the cover system's a little weird. You aim, or you ready your weapon, basically, and if you do that near cover, Chris will take cover. Sometimes it prompted an icon that you could do it. Some other times it just kind of happened. It wasn't exactly kind of clear, so maybe it's something because it's early on, but cover system was kind of awkward, didn't really work as I thought it would. One thing that was kind of different is the melee combat. In the other games, you can knife people, but if you shot them in certain points, you could do those context-sensitive moves. Now you can just straight up run up and like kick, punch people, and get out of a situation. Like, you're not gonna have to use your knife anymore to open crates and stuff like that. You just walk up to them, hit one of the trigger buttons. So that was kind of a nice touch. But in a nutshell, Chris's mission was not that fun. And if that's the demo that's coming with Dragon's Dogma, I'd honestly tell you to play that one last, or maybe play it first so you can get the good stuff later. For Jake's mission, it starts off with you and Sherry Birkin, Eastern Europe. You are running away from a giant monster. I hesitate to say what it was. It looked like one of the Tyrant variants, but it might be wrong, so Resident Evil fans, be nice to me. You just basically, it's a kind of a sequence where you're just running away from it with a reverse camera angle, a few jumps and dodges, and then you basically get into this warehouse environment. You have a brief shootout with a few zombies, and then the monster crashes your party, and you basically have to take it down. And it's a big. It's an open environment, but also there's a bunch of walls. There's a bunch of explosive barrels. Just shooting at this monster, it has a kind of a claw thing if you are stationary that will fire it out and grab you, draw you in, and punish you, do lots of life damage. Also has like a bunch of charge moves. And real quick, speaking about life, there's still herbs in the game. It's actually just a quick button press you have like a life meter broken up into bars. You can heal a bar instantly, or you can like spam the button to heal up multiple bars. Or there's a hot command to basically full heal if you have enough herbs, basically. So no more opening menus and fumbling through that stuff for healing. Changing weapons was pretty easy. It's a horizontal movement for your different guns and vertical movement on the D-pad to change between your grenades and projectiles. So it's actually pretty easy to get switch between that stuff. How that relates to the boss battle is that you can't just sit there and just shoot at the boss. So you got to utilize run and gun. Thankfully, you can actually run and shoot in this game finally. You have the dodge mechanic, which is a new addition. Previously, it was like a context-sensitive input in past Resident Evils. Now you can dodge at any time. You can also slide into a firing-prone position, but it leaves you more exposed. So you got to utilize a bunch of those tactics to evade this monster, take him out. The easiest way is just to run around and shoot a bunch of the explosive barrels, and then you defeat him. And that was pretty much it for Jake's mission. Overall, I would honestly say that I was really anticipating Resident Evil 6, and I guess I'm kind of like back to neutral on it. I was kind of excited, neutral. And it was mainly because the Chris mission kind of put a damper on it for me. It was fun playing as Jake. The biggest thing about Jake is his melee combat is awesome. He has it seems like he has a lot more moves. He seems like he moves a little bit faster, is the most agile of the 3 playable characters. And Sherry as a partner seemed to be okay, and that's one thing. There didn't seem to be any issues with the AI for your partner, so no Sheva shenanigans so far. And then the Leon part was probably the best. Hopefully that vibe continues through the rest of Leon's mission. The one thing that did come out that they didn't show there, but apparently was revealed, is that there's going to be new forms of co-op. Apparently your partners, like the stories will intertwine eventually, and you'll have like up to, I believe, 4-player co-op. So, and that's just one of the different co-op modes that Capcom's advertising for the game now. And the other thing is, each of the 3 campaigns, apparently each individual one is like 70 to 80% the length of the entirety of Resident Evil 5. So it's shaping up to be a much longer game. The visuals, I mean, the game's still a little bit off. It's not coming out till October. There's some issues with the visuals here and there. Things weren't finished, didn't have quite the polish that RE5 had yet. But again, still a little bit early. I'm sure they'll have that all worked out. But I mean, I'm a big fan of Resident Evil. I actually did enjoy 5. I still think 4 is the best. If you've read any of my side mission stuff, you kind of know my thoughts on the older games. I don't really prefer them, but I understand where they're coming from. But I do like that this game actually is trying to give you the best of everything. It's giving you a throwback to the older style. It's giving you a little bit more of the action-oriented stuff, and then it's trying something a little bit new with the Jake mission. So I think that'll just about wrap it up. Be sure to check back on GT. We're going to have a lot of coverage of this game as it gets closer to release. I'm sure they're going to be showing it off at Comic-Con. Hopefully they'll show off something new there. And just stay tuned for more coverage, and thanks for watching.